All right, welcome to those who are joining right now. We're going to get started in a few minutes. Thanks for being on time. The meeting is recorded so that if you miss part of it, you can always go to the DALMAC website and find the recording and replay it. Or if we're all that exciting, you can listen to all of this again. We'll just give it a couple more minutes here. Steve, did you ride your bike today?
No, I did not. I went to the Ingham County advisory meeting on the millage and the trails.
Ah,
I would much rather have ridden my bike, but I did plug the DALMAC fund in front of all of the governments in Ingham County that are using trail money. So we should hopefully get more local trail funding requests for next year. So in some sense, it's probably a worthwhile 2 hours I spent.
great. Well, it was a beautiful day. I did not ride either. I ended up doing yard work and some other stuff with family. So
we've got this ride planned for tomorrow, and I've got my bike rack back on my car, and my bike is on the rack.
well, brilliant. I'll be seeing you tomorrow then.
Yeah.
Well, we are now 2 minutes after the hour, so let's go ahead and get started with our webinar. Thank you, folks, for joining. We'll let people in as the meeting goes on. Yeah, we have a fairly small group today, but we'll hold the questions until the end, if you don't mind. And I'm going to go through. I'm Dan Stockwell. I'm the DALMAC director. This is my second year as director of the DALMAC. And with me in the Hollywood Squares here is Steve Leiby, the former DALMAC director. Wave for us, Steve. Thank you very much. And Steve, how many DALMACs have you participated in?
Well, I've missed 11, so something like 42.
Okay, so Steve is an original. And if there's anybody who knows DALMAC inside and out, it's Steve. And also joining us tonight is Dave Mansfield. Dave is the guru of maps and routes. Dave creates all the maps. And the brilliant thing with Dave is that he does this for other bicycle clubs, other rides. He is the master of map creation. And he's going to talk to us tonight about Ride with GPS, give you an introduction to that. And I failed to mention, Steve's going to talk about the gear that you need and how to pack yourself and be ready for the DALMAC. So let me advance the slide here. And I just basically told you this information, and I think you'll find this valuable. It'll be, let me admit another person here. This will be information, be helpful for you on the tour. I do have a little bit of news. If you haven't heard, we have completely filled our 5-day east, 5-day gravel, 3-day east, and 2-day east and trail. We have filled those tours. We are sold out. We currently have available spots for the 5-day west and the 4-day west. And we have also sold out our bus tickets for the return. So if you have not signed up, please join us on the 4-day or the 5-day, and we'll figure out a way to get you home to East Lansing if we don't have any bus openings by that time. All right, so as always, a plug for the dalmac.org website, which I maintain and keep updated, and you're welcome to go visit that website. And well, we have another DALMAC friend joining right now. Pat Harrington is joining us, and let's keep going here. So first, I want to talk a little bit about on the road and kind of some expectations of what you can expect on the road, what happens out there a little bit. If you're an experienced bike tourer, these are familiar topics. If you are new to DALMAC or new to bike touring, these may be things that are helpful. So the day before your selected route starts, and this is either the pavilion at Michigan State or one of the locations north for the other routes, there's a rider registration at the pavilion, and you will be starting there. You'll get your wristband, and that wristband's real important. That is your ticket. We ask you to never remove that band. Well, you can remove it at the end of the tour, but that is a very important thing. That's your ticket to be able to get meals and showers and the use of the facilities that we've arranged along the route. You'll also get a route map booklet that Dave Mansfield has put together. And by the way, you can go preview those map booklets now. We have published them online at dalmac.org. So if you'd like to see the detailed map books, you can download those from dalmac.org. Take a look at them. And we got to mute Pat because he's making too much noise out there. Oh, he did it. Okay. And that is a very helpful thing. But please bear in mind that those are subject to change. We have a crew of folks who review the routes and check on construction and road closures and so on. So the maps as they are today may not be exactly what they are when we start the tour at the end of August. At that registration, you'll also pick up the merchandise that you have purchased, the jersey and the special jersey and any other clothing that you've purchased. We have closed off clothing sales at this point. No more clothing available on this round. However, we will open a special DALMAC clothing store at the end of the tour. So if you missed buying, now you can go and purchase additional items or the jerseys and so on. You will load your baggage onto the truck for your route when you're at the pavilion. So we will have the baggage trucks there, and folks will be standing by to assist with you loading your bags. We do ask you to very carefully walk up the ramp with your bags, but we'll help you. Make sure you don't fall down, but it's up to you to get your bags onto the trucks. At the morning of the start of the route, basically get on your bike and ride. And there's still time to register and drop your bags on the morning of the start if you need to. And some folks do like to do that. And you get on your bike and start riding as soon as the sun's up. So on the road, DALMAC, we've established rest stops along the route, and those are all highlighted in the map booklet. So when you have that map booklet in hand, you'll have all the information you need to successfully navigate up the route and look for the porta potties and the water that we provide. And we have a cookie stop. Each route has a famous cookie stop. And we have a crew of folks who are dedicated cookie wranglers, and they will be the ones who will provide those cookie stops. And at the cookie stops, you'll find a great selection of cookies from Hearthstone Bakery in Ithaca, Michigan, along with water to refill your water bottles. And you can enjoy some other stops along the way. We have communities that very often provide kind of informal or more formal rest areas for you to stop and drink some cold water or some cold drinks, and cookies and pie often offered along the way. We want to encourage you to stop at the local businesses as you encounter them on the route, because it's really important to participate or have those folks providing our services. And when they do business well by serving you snacks, lunch, cookies, whatever else, it's good for them and it's good for the tour. We have mobile bicycle repair services. If you need some repair on your bicycle, we do have that available. And those repair trucks have been arranged for by DALMAC. In fact, Steve Leiby is the wrangler of the repair trucks, and they will They generally offer their services, their labor for free, but they do charge for parts, and they do appreciate tips if you can make that happen. So one of the things that's really important, and kind of the beginning of DALMAC, was all about learning how to share the road with bicycles. Dick Allen, the founder of the ride, his objective was to prove that bicycles and automobiles could share the road safely. And we've had a pretty good track record with DALMAC. As you know, it's kind of scary sometimes out there on the road, but we really want you to be a good bicycle citizen. Obey the traffic laws. Don't roll through stops. Ride safely and defensively. Report road ragers or other issues to 911. We do have SAG services, but we are not Uber. We are there to provide safety and support for all of our riders on the tour. So the SAG people will be there going up and down the route in a very clearly marked vehicle. You'll get to know those folks. If you're having trouble, either physically you're having problems or your bicycle is having problems, just simply tap the top of your helmet, and that's the signal to the SAG drivers to pull over and give you some assist. We will, the SAGs will carry water. There'll be water on board if you need to do that. And there will be a tire pump, so you can fix your own tire and pump it up. We're not mechanics. The SAG drivers are not mechanics. They will do their best to use their knowledge to guide you to repair your own bike if you have an issue with it. We have first aid kits on board for minor scrapes. We will be responsible for giving you some first aid items, and then you patch yourself up. We're not going to provide first aid services per se. We will call 911 for you if it's a serious injury or you're unable to call, and we have a protocol for handling that. And so just bear that in mind, that we will not perform the first aid, but we do have all the first aid supplies to help you out. In camp in the evening, the DALMAC crew generally arrive around 3 o'clock to start setting up the camp for the riders that are coming in. In some sites, it may be a bit later. There will be some information sent out later on as we get closer to the time of the tour, if any changes occur in those times. We have one school that's probably going to be more like 3:30 or 4. That's on the east route before you can get onto the school grounds. The schools are always happy to see us because we pay them to use their facility, and we pay them to prepare the food that we're going to serve you. And the money that they make from that is a very welcome addition to their budgets. It supports bands, band boosters, athletic programs, and other kinds of things at the local schools where we stop. When you get there, the baggage trucks will be open, and the crew works on getting the bags off the truck, down off the truck, and lined up on the pavement behind the truck. We ask you if you're there early and you can lend a hand. We appreciate you giving a hand to the crew to make sure that the luggage all gets unloaded. There's a pop-up tent of kind of the camp headquarters, if you will, and at every site, and in there will be DALMAC's crew personnel to answer any questions, and we generally have water and lemonade there to quench your thirst at the end of the day. We have signs. We have a lot of signs and directional signs. That we have areas for CPAPs for where people need a CPAP. We have specific areas that will be cordoned off for that. There will be signs showing the directions to meals, times, all those kinds of things. Dinner is generally served 5 to 7, but again, this can change depending on the location, but that's generally the time frame. There's a rider meeting that we really would like you to attend at the end of dinner. It's really important because you get the scoop on what's happening, any road closures or changes to the routes that we need to inform you of. That will occur at the rider meeting. And the rider meeting at the last night is usually a lot of fun because if we're lucky, we'll have a group of folks sing the DALMAC song for you. And that's a very amusing song that was written for DALMAC. The quiet hours are from 9 to 6. My experience on DALMAC, and I've done 14 or 15 of them, 9 o'clock, all you hear is snoring and the hiss of CPAPs because everybody's tired. You're going to turn in and be done. I'll point out the TCBA pet policy. The TCBA board passed a policy a couple of years ago that we only allow certified working service animals are allowed. No pets, emotional support animals, comfort animals, or therapy animals are permitted on the tour. We've just found that that's a better policy. The schools appreciate that. We all love our pets, but not on the bike. So in the morning, when you get in camp, rise and shine. And one of my favorite, or least favorite things to do is to stuff a nice wet tent and a rain fly into a bag and get it packed up. I hated that. And for many years, I've used Padres Cycle In, and you can get more information about them from the DALMAC.org website. And they provide the tent and air mattress. They have all kinds of wonderful services for you. They put up your tent. They move your bags into your tent. They take your tent down in the morning, pack it away, and you just get up, walk away from your tent with your bike, go for a ride, and that evening, boom, you're all set up and ready. So I really encourage folks to use Padres. It's a wonderful service. They bring us a lot of riders. The breakfast is 6:30 to 8. And again, we may be some variation on that, but that's typically the time frame you're going to find. And the baggage, once again, if you're not using Padres, you'll load your bags on the trucks. They'll open at 7 a.m., get your bags on board, and again, assist and help others in this community of cyclists that we have. So top off your water, fill up your tires, and hit the road after sunrise. We want the sun up before you hit the road. That's a safety concern for us. So we appreciate you doing that. The DALMAC crew will finish up at the site. There's a lot of work to be done. We pack up all the gear. We fold up our tents. We make sure that the grounds are policed and clean. We want to leave our sites very clean, just the way we found them. And they will generally be in the trucks and the vans and heading to the next stop by 9 o'clock. And then from there, it's just simply have a nice day. Enjoy your ride. Make sure you stay hydrated. Make sure that you stop for lunch along the way and enjoy the beautiful Michigan, absolutely amazing scenery that's available on the route. So on the last day of the tour, you made it to Mackinac City. All the routes of the tour end up in Mackinac City, and we're excited to see you. Your baggage will be spread out on the ground and arranged by the route. There will be signs that say, here's the bags for the 5 West, here's the bags for the 4 East or the 4 West, and that's where your bags will be. Be sure to grab a bite to eat at the gymnasium of the Mackinac City Schools. This is an important fundraiser for the schools. I've been talking to them already about their placement, so you'll find them as soon as you roll into the school, and they have hamburgers and hot dogs and cold drinks and things. So be sure to take an opportunity to do that. They have some young people from the schools doing the serving, and it is a fundraiser for the Mackinac schools. There are 3 bus departures from Mackinac City. I said earlier that our buses are currently sold. All were sold out, but the timing is critical. There's a 3 o'clock bus to East Lansing, and it leaves on time. And I want to tell you, we have a phrase among the crew, the DALMAC runs on time. And when we say 3 o'clock, the door closes at 3 and the bus is rolling. So bear that in mind as you consider your pace on the last day. If you're signed up for the 3 o'clock bus, you need to be there before 2 o'clock to load your bike and to put your baggage into the bus. So keep that in mind. The second departure for East Lansing is at 6 p.m. Same rules. You need to be there before 5 o'clock to get everything loaded up and on the trucks and the buses and on your way. And if you're participating in the the routes that start in Grayling and Gladwin, it's 4:30 p.m. sharp to be that bus is going to roll out. There will be a lot of DALMAC crew on hand to help out and answer questions. The bus riders do get a boxed lunch for the return trip downstate. And there will be a bunch of us wearing, well, not a bunch, there's a few of us wearing a pink hat. So if you're confused, in need of help, have questions, look for one of us wearing a pink hat, and that will be a person who can understand what's going on and help you out. All right, so now I'm going to turn it over to Dave Mansfield, who's going to talk a little bit about Ride with GPS. Dave, do you want to share your screen? Do you have something to share, or are you just going to?
Sure.
Okay, I'll stop sharing, then you can go ahead.
Okay.
Is it letting you do it, Dave?
I think so. Let's see here.
There you
Okay,
go.
see my screen?
Yes, sir.
All right, we're gonna have two Ride with GPS systems. We're gonna have an event which has all the files for all the routes in it. So if you have a GPS, Garmin or other GPS, and you want to download the routes, that's the easiest way to download them is from the event. And then we also have what Ride with GPS calls an experience, which is a phone app. And I'd advise loading it on your phone, even if you're using a GPS, because it has a lot of information that's not going to be on just the route files. On my screen here, this is an example on the website. But it's basically what you'll see on your phone on the guide screen, and it'll have stuff like a screen with SAG phone numbers and that kind of stuff. Phone numbers for bike repair, phone numbers for Padres. Has an itinerary page, and then there's a page for each day. And when you look at each day, it will tell you a little bit about that day, and it will also have the route on it. And this will all be downloaded on your phone. So if you download it before the ride starts, you don't need cell service or Wi-Fi or anything. It'll be downloaded. And then I can't do it because, like I said, it's a screen representative. But if I click on where that orange is right there, it would bring the route up to navigate, and then it will give you spoken directions, and it will tell you turn right on this street, turn left on that street, and it will announce it right before the turn. And you also be able to see on the screen exactly where you're at, where the turn is. So it's really a nice way to go. And I'd advise downloading that even if you're not planning on using it. It's always good to have a backup. And it's free to you. We're paying the cost of having it. So there's no reason not to download it. Is there anything else we'd like to talk about on GPS for now? Or?
Does anybody have any questions for Dave about Ride with GPS? And again, we're going to have a webinar in July where we're going to go into some detail and talk through the routes, make sure you understand what's going to happen on each route. But this is a service that is provided by Tri-County Bike and DALMAC, and we strongly encourage you use the Ride with GPS. And if you have any questions about it at this point, let's hear it. Then we'll go to Steve and he can do his show and tell. Unmute yourself and ask a question if you need to. All right. Pardon me. Steve, take it away, buddy.
Thank you. I'm going to talk about not what to pack, but how to pack. There's a laundry list of stuff on the DALMAC website on what to pack. But so I'm going to start out with this thing. You know, most of us have these. Leave it home. There'll be one on each repair truck. There'll be one on the baggage trucks. You don't need to weigh your bags down with your foot pump, so leave it home, okay? Now, one of the things that happens on DALMAC, and Dan alluded to it, the trucks get unloaded, and the people that treat DALMAC as a race, and you'll see people that do, or maybe you wave at them as they go by, the winners of the race get to unload the baggage truck. And I haven't won the race since 1976. I guess I learned something. So keep that in mind. It's not a race, it's a tour. Enjoy yourself on the ride. Stop and take a break whenever you want. Stop and take a snack, whatever. I recommend you keep a lid on the brew and that kind of stuff as you're riding, because especially if it's hot, it's not a good idea to be drinking alcoholic beverages, but enjoy the ride. So I'm going to start out by saying decorate your bag. And the reason I'm saying that is when you see 400 people's bags unloaded and each person has 2 bags, you'll be surprised how many green and black and blue bags there are in the world. And so my wife came up with these little bits of ribbon. It just makes it a little easier to figure out our green bags from other people's green bags. Be creative, find something that makes your bag stand out. A number of years ago, I had this multicolored hockey bag that my son had outgrown. It was wonderful because it was one of a kind. Unfortunately, it wore out. But so I'm in these nice LL Bean bags with wheels. They come in handy. They're easy to move around, but decorate them because there's lots of green and black and blue bags. So think about how to decorate your bag. Now, the next thing, and this is going to drive a lot of the things I talk about, is tents. And this is my tent fly. And it's dry right now. But most mornings when you wake up on DALMAC, even if it didn't rain, there's probably going to be a lot of dew. And your tent fly is going to be soaking wet. And everybody else's tent fly is going to be soaking wet. So when you take it off your tent, you're going to want to shake it out. And we all have been trained to put the tent fly back in the bag with our tent. Don't do that, especially if it's wet. Get another bag, a waterproof trash bag or something. Stick your wet tent fly in a trash bag and seal it up. And this will help keep your stuff dry. And anybody's bags who are below yours on the baggage truck, help keep them dry too. Because the wet tent flies are what's really going to make things interesting in the morning when you go to pack your stuff up, because it'll get your stuff wet and your tent fly may get somebody else's bag wet if your bag is on top of theirs. So everything that goes in the bag, and I tend to do one bag with my camping gear and one bag with my clothes. Everything in your bag needs to be in plastic so your tent fly doesn't get your stuff wet when it's wet. And that includes your sleeping bag. This is a nice little summer sleeping bag. I may be using a heavier one on DALMAC depending on the weather. What kind of bedroll you're using, your air mattress, it needs to go in plastic. And of course, your pillow needs to be in plastic too, though you may want to put a pillowcase on it. This one doesn't have one. So, and of course, your tennis shoes. So if you're going to wear tennis shoes in camp, you may want to put those in plastic as well, just to keep them dry. So your tent fly doesn't get your tennis shoes wet. Okay. That's it for the quick presentation on camping stuff. Now let's talk about the other bag, which is going to have your clothes in it. The first thing you're going to want to do is set up your tent, and you're going to reach out and get your air mattress or your sleeping pad unrolled and your sleeping bag unrolled to air out. And then you're going to want to hit the shower. And I have found that the best way to do it is to use a string backpack for your shower stuff. And there, you'll see a few riders with these nice DALMAC ones from a couple of years ago. They came in really handy, but a string backpack of some kind. And in it, you'll want your towel. I'm using we're using microfiber towels. And then your clothing. Again, everything in plastic. I thought about using that clip from that Dustin Hoffman film from a whole bunch of years ago about plastic. Well, Ziploc bags come in handy. I learned this from a number of friends. I didn't dream any of this up. And if you got all your clothes in your shower bag, and then all you got to do is grab your shower bag, your shower sandals, and you're off to the showers. And I will even have deodorant, soap, and shampoo, and any other stuff you need in my shower bag, so that all I got to do is grab it and I'm off to the showers, and I'm not searching through my backpack, my bag for what do I need for my shower. It's already pre-packed. Now, the next thing I will do after I get done with the shower is I will start getting my bag ready for tomorrow, for the next day. So I will have, get the right ones here, my non-riding clothes, again, pre-bagged by day. And I'll put, this one has a little label on it that says Thursday. And the reason I put date labels on it is, and I learned this from a friend, is, you know, when you're in the tent, especially if it's dark, it's hard to tell one bag from another. And so if you've got them labeled by day, and you want to say you've looked at the weather and Wednesday and Thursday are going to be hot and Friday is going to be a little cool and Saturday is going to be cold, you may want to have a long sleeve t-shirt or something for Saturday night. But you don't want that for Wednesday night. So that's where the labeling comes in. And that just makes it really quick. So the first thing I will do when I get done with my shower and get back to the tent is grab the next day's clothes, stick it in my bag. So my bag's ready to go. My towel, which, you know, this one comes in a little storage case, which will probably get left at home. The towel goes on the bike. The handlebars make a really nice drying rack if the weather's at all cooperative. And that way you can dry your towel quickly. I've been known to put my shower shoes on top of my tent so they'll dry in the sun. So whatever you can do to make it work, but by doing this thing, you're doing a little more planning beforehand, a little less afterwards. So I will literally have on my bed at home, when I'm packing, 5 sets of clothes for riding, 5 sets of clothes for showers. Each one of them goes in its own bag, and it makes riding easy, riding and packing really easy. So then the next thing I'll do is I'll reach into my bag and find my riding clothes for Thursday. They're already packed, so I already know what I'm going to ride. And I just have to unzip it, lay it out, and I'm ready to go. So in the morning, I'm not searching through my bag for my jersey, my shorts, my socks. Everything's set. And it makes it really easy, and you can move faster. Other things, again, this has to do with it being dark. This is a black pair of pants. Well, a black pair of pants in a bag with a dark interior can be hard to find. So if I've got them labeled pants, I know this sounds kind of crazy and I don't know. I don't know a nice word for it. So I'll just say that, but this makes it easy to find. And of course, you know, if you're wearing tights, your tights are always black. And sometimes when it's cold or it looks like it's raining, I'm going to wear wool clothing under my stuff. This is all black. So you've got all this black stuff in a black bag. So if you label what it is, it makes it easier to find. And it takes a little more time to organize it, but during the ride, you'll see, you'll be glad you did it. Another thing that hasn't been talked about is electronics. When I first rode DALMAC, we really didn't have any electronics that we carried on the bikes. And now, you know, Dave talked about cell phone and your Garmin or Wahoo if you're using a bike computer of some kind, and you've got hopefully lights on your bike, front and rear, and all those things need to be charged. And DALMAC provides some charging stations, but you're going to need to bring your own cords. So you may want to come up with a plastic bag or some kind of bag to corral your cords in, so you could easily find them. And then when you get into camp, the crew, if you haven't seen it, will point you to where the charging stations are, and you can charge up your devices and be ready to go by morning. So real quickly, that's everything I had. On packing, I think you'll find this kind of system, it takes a little more time to organize it. And yes, my wife and I do this, and yes, we do this on every multi-day tour we go on. And we keep this stash of Ziploc bags that we've used. And that's all these bags get used for. And every year, 1 or 2 of them gets retired and a couple get brought back in. And I didn't mention this, but I always carry at least one extra of the big trash bags for my suitcases, because invariably one of these suckers gets caught in my zipper and gets torn. And it's a really good idea to carry a spare one of these just to make sure your sleeping bag stays dry, because the last thing you want is a wet sleeping bag from your wet tent fly. So that's all I had on this quick presentation. Hopefully this will help with organizing your stuff and make it easier for you as you're riding DALMAC to be grabbing the clothes you want and getting going quickly and easily. And then, of course, there's always a bag to put the dirty stuff in. I didn't get one of those out, but I think everybody knows what that is. So hopefully this helps, and we'll see you on DALMAC.
Great, Steve. Thank you very much. That's good information. I'll pass along. We'll get to Dave here in a second, but I have another thing that I do, and it's a little weird. No, it's not weird. It's fine. I have a kilt, and I take my kilt on all my tours. And when it's time to shower at the end of the day, I put on the kilt, and everything else comes off. So you don't, and so you can go into the shower, take your shower, get dried off, put the kilt back on, return to the tent and get dressed in there. And that is something that I do. I learned that from a friend who's done a lot of bike tours, and he swears by it. I like that too. I'll make another note on the electronics. We invested last year, as Steve mentioned, a number of electronic charging stations that have multiple outlets for USB cords to charge any number of things. We did a count last year, and we determined that on average, a cyclist today is carrying at least 9 individual devices that need electricity sometime during the tour. And before I forget it, e-bikes. If you are an e-bike rider, we do provide a charging tent for e-bikes, and where we set up power cords, and you can pull your e-bike under that tent and get it charged up. Dave, you had something you wanted to add?
Yeah, comments on Steve's, I agree with what Steve said. You can find 2-gallon Ziploc bags. If you got something that won't fit in 1 gallon, they're a little harder to find. But if you look around in stores, you can find 2-gallon bags. I really like them. Other comment is Steve stressed your fly being wet. Everybody else's is wet too, and water tends to go down. So we always say high is dry. When you put in your stuff on the baggage truck, pack it as high as possible so that your water is going on the other people's stuff, not the other way around. And then I saw a question pop up about USB cords. The charging stations that DALMAC bought has USB-A ports. So if you bring a cable that plugs in USB-A, you can plug it in. We also have the old system that we still carry that has plugs. So if you have a wall wart, then you can use whatever cable plugs into it.
Great. Yeah, that's, and I'll go on the plastic bags. You know me, you guys, I take one step further. I use my vacuum sealing machine that you don't normally use for food. And I put my stuff in that, and I vacuum seal it, and it reduces the volume by at least 2/3. So now I've got these little thin packs of compressed stuff, and it all goes in the bag very nicely. So there you go. All right. I think we're at the end of our time. I would like you to unmute and ask any questions you have. I hope you found this useful. Again, this is recorded, and there'll be the recording will be posted out on dalmac.org if you want to review this. And any questions from anybody, let them come. Any changes to 5 West from last year? No, the 5 West route is essentially the same, but with the caveat that it could change depending on construction. Again, we have a team of folks that monitor road conditions and construction. So it's possible there can be changes, but basically the route is the same as last year. Other questions? Any need to take bike locks along? Typically, I have not found it really a big issue in camp. If you're going to ride your bike into town and park in a bike rack in a town somewhere, you might want to have a bike lock for that bicycle. But in camp, I don't know. Steve, do you know of a time when we've had any bicycles stolen from camp?
Not in recent decades. I don't carry a lock on the ride, but on my bike while I'm riding, I will have one in the bag. I occasionally use it at night. If I look around and for some reason I don't feel comfortable, then I will lock the bike. But riding along the route, you shouldn't need a lock. There's enough people around, and we're in small towns for the most part where bike theft isn't a big problem. If we were still staying at CMU, I would say lock it, but we're not staying at CMU anymore. If you're staying overnight at MSU, either before or after DALMAC, I would lock the bike.
In camp, I think you're fine. Someone asked a question about Ride with GPS. Yes, you go search. If you're an iPhone user, go to the App Store and search for Ride with GPS. And then later on, there will be links for you to get the maps onto your phone. And Dave will go into details on that at our next webinar.
Yes, also Android's same thing, searching the App Store for Ride with GPS. And with the system that we're paying Ride with GPS to use, you don't even need an account. If you have a Ride with GPS account, that's fine. But you can download the app and never sign up for an account and still use everything that I'm talking about.
All right, any other questions? All right, well, get out there, get your miles in. We look forward to seeing you on the route. If you have any additional questions, think of something afterwards, you can send me an email, director@dalmac.org, and we'll do our best to respond to you. And go out there, be safe, have some fun, and we'll see you next time. Thank you. Good night.